milestone for KiraInsightz. This is our third video, and thank you guys for all your support. In this video, I'll be talking about a project I've been working on for the past month, and it is a lightweight ERP system, which basically means it's an enterprise resource planning system which automates data collection, data storage, and as well as insight generation. So my whole idea behind creating this system was that small to medium businesses don't have access to expensive ERP or BI reporting software. So I wanted to offer a low cost service to small to medium enterprises, and I'll just be talking about that in this video. Into how exactly my system works and like what my system does and how it would generate value for businesses. I just wanted to give you guys like a brief story as to how this idea came to be. So I was speaking to a manager of a farm in Eastern Cape, and like I was basically pitching my services to her, and I asked her like what are her pain points, and she told me that they were struggling with using this ERP system that they were using, but I won't mention what system it is. They were struggling to use this ERP system because it was old, it was difficult to use, and it could only be accessed on like an old computer. So basically what I said to her is that I can like develop a system that's easier to use and more user friendly. And I did that because the system is very easy to use for the user. All they have to do is fill out a form, which is the form that you see here, but I'll go into that now. They have to fill out a form, and my system does all the calculations, insight generations for them. Talking about how my system works exactly in terms of data collection. So all the client, the user has to do is fill out this simple form, and my system will do all the calculations, like what is the current inventory, like which day had like the highest inventory inflow, which day had the highest inventory outflow, and just stuff like that. So here, like in this form that the user has to fill out in order to log the inventory, the first question that they have to fill out is the transaction type, just to differentiate whether it is an inventory inflow or an inventory outflow. So you click here if it's an inflow, you click the radio button there if it's an inflow where your business is getting stock. If it's an outflow, you click here, means your business is getting rid of stock, maybe it's selling stock, or maybe stock was stolen, or different scenarios like that is what you'd classify an outflow as. And then for the business that I created this in, for the farm business, they had like these types of inventories that they wanted to log. So they had like phase 1 feeds, they had phase 2 feeds, and phase 3 feeds. So when you want to log an inflow, when they want to log, this is like the businesses. I just want to describe the businesses workflow. That's the perfect word. I want to describe their workflow. So let's say they buy 10 phase 1 feeds. They click here inflow, and then they click phase 1 feeds. And remember we said they what do you call it, they get 10 feeds, they're buying 10 feeds. And what's the date today? And then like we also choose the date as well here. You can choose the date there. The date's the 27th. And you just click submit. Click it once, and that's all the user has to do. Time we make a submission, it gets stored in this cloud database. So we can see here that the submission we made was stored, because we can see here it says that it's an inflow and a quantity of 10, which is what we did. We said that we want a quantity of 10. So every time we make a new submission, the database will get updated. And just keep this inventory type ID in here, the inventory type ID of 121 there at the bottom, and it shows us that the inventory type is phase 1 feed. So that is basically the data we submitted in the form part of the what do you call it, in the form part of the front end of the website. So it shows here that the data is being stored successfully, and as well as like the data is also stored in a separate table, but I won't go into that just to save time, because I want to focus on like the value my system brings. So I just want to show you quickly how it stores data in the cloud, and now I'll be talking about the value of my ERP system. And this is the part where we will be talking about the insights that my system automatically generates without the user having to pick up a hand, besides filling out the form. So these insights are generated using reporting tool software, and as well as SQL, and as well as some SQL calculations, some complex SQL calculations. And yeah, so I'll just be giving you a high level overview of like the insights that we gather from here. So here in the top row we can see like the scorecards here, and these scorecards, it highlights this one here. It highlights the day which had like the highest inflow. So from this already we can tell when the business bought the most amount of inventory. So we can clearly see here, again, this is just mock data, but according to the mock data, the day with the highest inflow was the 2nd of September, having 84, having an inflow of 84. So meaning they bought 84 pieces of inventory. So yeah, it's a very like important thing to know in terms of your business, just to see like where you guys stand in terms of purchasing inventory. And if like just to give you like a quick glance, just so you guys can see if you are spending, if there are any anomalies, and if you guys are like maybe spending too much on inventory. And like current inventory, and the second card that we have here that I'm hovering on is current inventory. And now basically how this was determined, it's all of the inventory, the inflows, the outflows, and we're basically subtracting the inflows from the outflows, like for across all the days. That's what we're doing in this card here. It shows like the current inventory that your business has at this present moment. And day with the highest outflow, we see here it's the 1st of September. So it means this is when the business lost the most inventory, whether it's through selling inventory or whether it's through how do I put this, through inventory being stolen or whatever. Like just the day with the highest outflow. Also this insight here as well just gives you a high level overview. If you guys see like a large outflow that you weren't expecting, you can easily identify anomalies within your data. So again, this data, like I'm sure you can see like how this data generates value for clients. All they have to do is fill in the form, and my system will do the magic, all the calculations. Guys, a high level overview of my last two visualizations. So in this one here that I'm hovering on, we compare the inventory type and the current inventory that we have as a business. So here we can see the inventory type of phase 1 feeds. They have the business has a current inventory holding of 79 of phase 1 feeds. Of phase 3 feeds, they have a quantity of 66. For phase 2 feeds, they have a quantity of 42. So this business, this visualization can be used by the business to help them identify any anomalies that they might identify in their data, or like in their organization in general. For example, like let's say you see how phase 1 has this high inventory of 79, but then like when they go and look at the actual inventory inside the business, they only have like 50 phase 1 feeds. So that already like raises a flag as to like there's something going on in the business. Maybe someone misplaced inventory or inventory was stolen. But this is just one of the uses of my ERP system. This helps businesses stay on track in terms of their inventory. And yeah, the final visualization, and it's this time series graph here, which looks at the current inventory that the business is holding over time. And remember earlier I explained that the current inventory holding is the amount of inventory that the business has, the inflow of inventory that the business gets, subtracted by the outflows. So which is why we can see like there are some negatives here, like on the 2nd of August there was a negative here. So this just means that the inventory that went out of the business was higher than the inventory that went in on the business in this particular day. And here we also see on the 20th of August the same thing. It had like a negative inventory holding of -8, meaning that the inventory that went out of the business was higher than the inventory that went in. So it could be that the business sold inventory, or it could mean that inventory was stolen or misplaced. And then here we see that there was a high inventory of 74. So like judging on the low inventories that we have here, we can just assume that the business tends to do most of its restocking or towards month end to the 2nd, because we could already see like around the 2nd they also have like another high inventory here. So we can just like make that assumption just based on this data that like the business tends to do like heavy restocking around month end, because you can see on the 27th they had like this high inventory of 74, and on the 2nd of September they also had like a high inventory of 74. So that is it in terms of my visualizations. So these visualizations were created using like SQL logic and some complex calculations. But for the clients, they don't have to worry about any of that. My system handles all of that. And if you would love to implement a similar solution to your business, just send me a message and reach out to me, and we can try to come up with a solution for your business. Thank you for watching my video. Please like and subscribe.